Welcome to another battle report, folks. Another late war Eastern Front Bagration warm-up game. Using a couple of lists we've not tried so far. You may have seen me using lists for the Soviets that I shared in a short video. I'll put a link at the end. This is the Hero Shock Rifle list, but I decided to change it up a bit because we've not seen these guys in these warm-up games, and they're not in any of the lists that I've shared, some IS-2s, so we'll see how they do. And then we've kind of tinkered around a bit with Panthers, so today Brian is going to be using a Panther company. So let's go through the lists, starting with the Germans. It's quite simple. You've got 2 platoons of 3 Panthers and 2 Panthers for company command, and that eats up most of the points. That leaves a battery of 3 Wesps with a Panzer III observer and armoured Panzer Grenadier platoon. We'll see if there's a game we play for the Germans that doesn't have Wesps in it. That could be the next challenge. And then for the Soviets, we've got this Hero Shock Rifle. There's a lot of stuff in here I've not used, so I'll have to keep on my toes to make sure I use the right statistics. But here we've got a 13 base plus commissar and flamethrower Hero Shock Rifle infantry platoon, and they're reckless. It's not reckless, sorry, they're aggressive, so hitting a 3+, but they've got a 3+ veteran skill, very useful in assault and for shooting and scooting or blitzing or so on. With the commissar, they're also fearless. This here is a storm group. Now this one has got 7 bases of infantry as opposed to 6, so it's the slightly larger one. It's also got a flamethrower, 2 heavy machine guns, and a mortar, and the anti-tank rifle base. And then also part of the core formation, we have a heavy machine gun platoon. There's a couple of bases there look suspiciously like anti-tank rifles. It's just because of I've used 2 over here and I've not got any extra. And the mortar platoon, once again, is a suspiciously infantry-like base. There you go, in there because I don't have an extra one. I might have one kicking about, so I might be able to fill that gap to get me a bit closer to fielding one of these accurately. Company command. I can't remember if the scouts are a core option, but I'll double check it. But that's a scout platoon, 5 base scout platoon. Oh, I forgot to say, these guys are careful and veteran. These guys may well be the same. See, I need to check all these things out during the game, guys. I'm going to get it completely screwed up, but it's quite a highly skilled Russian list. In support, they've got 3 ISU 152s and 4 IS-2s. Now these guys are aggressive, but they are veteran. I think they're fearless as well. I think these guys might be confident, but 3 up last stand. But we'll see, guys. I'll iron all this out as we play. So, there's the 2 lists. There's a table. It's quite a cluttered table compared to some other Eastern Front games that we've put on. Brian will be taking the Germans, be playing remotely, and I'll be playing the Soviets. So we'll go over to the mission next. I'll go through that before moving on to deployment. So we're going to play Breakthrough. I can't remember the last time we played this, to be honest. Let's have a look at the special rules. You've got ambush for the defender, immediate reserves for the defender, and flanking delayed reserves for the attacker. And if I have a look at the map, you can see defender has got to choose diagonally opposite table quarters, and then the attacker chooses one to place objectives in, and that's one where the reserves will come in from the corner, and another one will be where they deploy, and they're quite tight back in the corner. Not going to be a problem for a small force such as these German Panthers. Now, my reserves come on here. Now, they're immediate reserves, so I don't have to wait too long for them to arrive. But the important thing about this mission is the objectives do not become live until turn 6. So bearing in mind that layout, it's worthwhile talking about how you choose, as the defender, the deployment zones for you. Because the most important thing to remember as a defender in this game is your deployment zones will not contain any objectives. So you want to be choosing deployment zones where the opposition, the attacker, will have to choose a diagonally opposite quarter which is going to have the best terrain for you. Bear in mind where his reserves will be coming on too. You might be able to choose a quarter where it's not good for his reserves to come on to. Maybe it's too open, but if it is too open, it could also be too open for you. You may also want to force them to deploy in a quarter which is very cluttered, and they're not going to have good line of sight or lots of cross checks to go over. But the most important thing is to remember where the objectives could go down. So let's look here. If I was looking at that as the deployment zone, I'd be thinking, fantastic, that's good. Houses to hide in, hide from these Panthers. Over here, well, it's not so good. It's quite open. Look at the other one. I go, okay, good hiding, plenty of buildings to get infantry into. Over here, it's got a few buildings, one of them very prominent, and some linear obstacles again, so, and a hill, so it could be some quite good cover in there too. So I'm thinking to myself, do I deploy across here, and then Brian has to deploy here or put his objectives there, or does he deploy here and put his objectives in all the houses? Now if he puts his objectives here, I've got a wood to come through which might be useful. There's a hill. That's not going to really help my infantry. It's mainly an infantry force that I've got. So I've got to consider, where do I want the objectives to go down? How much cover do I want it to be? How difficult do I want to make Brian's deployment and initial manoeuvre? So there's a map. Let's see what I come up with. Deployment is complete. Let's go through the choices. First of all, I chose this quarter and this quarter. Brian chose to deploy in that quarter. I'll try and zoom in. And the objectives went into this space, so from here up to there. So Brian's placed one here, one here. Now, he's kind of squashed back in a corner there, but he can get on me really quick and get a machine gun shot really quick. He chose the town because he didn't want the objectives to go into there, which makes sense. But then also, you can see from his deployment, he's got most of his Panthers here, and 3 over there. The Panzer Grenadiers are in reserve. He's going to sweep around here. He'll get some shots off fairly quick. I've got a wood that will help, but the good thing for him is that this line of hills will make it very difficult for any reserves that come on here to get involved in the game. So he can be more confident about facing me up frontally when my reserves do come on. And he's also put a platoon of Panthers around the side to mean I can't just forget about this side. His Wesps are in the street, and you can see the little Panzer III observation tank right there. So my deployment, I was worried about this road. It was very open way out of the town, so my scouts are blocking that at the moment. Behind him are the mortars, kind of in a blocking position. But you know, there's not a lot they're going to be able to shoot at. When the reserves arrive for the Germans. My company commander can call in artillery, call in the mortars, so that's okay. The main shock rifle platoon is here, along with company command. And then here is the storm group and heavy machine guns. So that leaves my IS-2s and my ISU 152s in reserve, and I can come in from that corner or that corner. So Brian's actually chosen quite well, or he suckered me into choosing. It's always a tricky one, because my reserves, I've got a wood to hide behind, which means I can then come off and defend. That's about the best thing going for me on that corner, and you can come up to 16 inches. This corner I can come on, I've got Panthers to deal with, and a long, long way to get involved in the game. So I reckon that's where they're going to come on. But Brian can still put a pincer movement with these guys and those guys. If I don't bring any reserves on over here, they'll have freedom of action. Who knows what they could get up to. So that's us ready to start. I'll clear off all the deployment markers and come back at the end of Brian's turn 1. German turn 1. So, mostly tactical moves. These Panthers moved out with the observer to get some machine gun shots. These guys moved out, being careful not to proceed too far up because Brian was worried about potential for reserves arriving here. They fired their main guns at the scouts, got no hits. These guys fired at the shock rifle, the storm group. Loads of dice, but only 4 hits, all of which I saved. But the artillery, Brian hadn't bothered with pre-ranged in. He needn't have bothered, as you can see. He ranged in there, hit nearly everything, and I failed nearly. I passed 1 save, which is a bit bad. He failed 1 firepower, and I lost heavy machine gun, anti-tank rifle, flamethrower, and SMG base. So basically that platoon's half gutted after 1 turn of shooting. Right, so that's with Brian just now, though. He's not got a lot of assets on the table. He's playing a long game, but this is a long game anyway. It's 6 turns before the objectives go live. So my turn 1, I will at least be rolling for reserves. Soviet turn 1, these guys unpinned. In terms of movement, they moved up through the wood, out with the template, hiding behind the wood to a large degree. Brian can still range in near to the wood though and get them again. These guys moved, tried to follow me, didn't work. These guys along the company command did their own move plus follow me's, and it worked. Over here, just to input, to move out would be asking for a lot of machine gun shots. And then these guys managed to range in first time on sort of corner of that taller building in the corner, and got some hits, or rolled. I got a couple of hits against the Wesps, but I mean the best I could do there is a bail. But I need to think about doing something to at least hurt them back, or this whole platoon's going to be gone. I can never know. Might not be so much bad luck, but I've got to try and keep this platoon on that objective whilst these guys are in a position to perhaps defend both with the help of them. We'll see. Oh, no reserves, sorry. So over to Brian for German turn 2. German turn 2. So these guys tactically moved up to keep shooting. These Panthers stayed put. The Wesps are not at all worried about mortars. And in terms of shooting, these guys, front 3 with machine guns, back 2 with main guns, managed to get the Commissar, oh dear, flamethrower, of course, and 1 base of infantry. And then the Wesps got line of sight to this point, which brought all but 1 base under the template. Here I at least had better saves this turn, only lost a heavy machine gun, but they are under the template now. If they don't dig in, they'll get machine gun to death. If they dig in, they'll get bombed to death. So it's looking pretty tricky for me. These guys, well and truly pinned as well, so they'll have to unpin. So over to me for Soviet turn 2. Soviet turn 2, everything unpinned. I just dug these guys in, successfully dug in. Hold on, I'll just remove that. And these guys, I thought, if I move forward again, they'll get machine gunned to bits. This is the problem if you don't give your opponent's tanks something to do when you're trying to move your infantry over in this mission. So I should have thought of that. Anyway, I got no reserves. These guys have moved up. There's a couple in the hut, so that objective at least is fairly secure against an infantry assault. Maybe not an armoured infantry assault, but an infantry assault at least. And these guys, especially them, I've not got a lot of hope. I'll just have to chance my luck. These hit all 3 Wesps, but he saved all 3. He's got a roll of 1, really, for me to get a bail. So there's a lot of dice need to be rolled before anything happens there, but it gives us something to do. So over to Brian for his turn 3, and he's going to be rolling for reserves. I bet they arrive before I do. German turn 3. So Panthers have moved up. Brian was conscious of flank shots. He did ask me to put them side on like that. And then he moved up a bit, worried about side shots from any reserves arriving, because I will get reserves next turn, whatever happens. He didn't get reserve, by the way. He didn't get his Panzer Grenadier, so that wasn't so bad. That'll maybe give my heavy machine guns a chance to dig in. The German death machine slowed down dramatically that turn. He actually don't think he got anything. The artillery, even though I was re-rolling saves, I only failed 1, and he failed his firepower. The Panthers managed to use the main guns but got no hits. These guys managed using the main guns to get a hit down here, but I saved. And over there, the Panthers finally managed a couple of hits on the scouts, but I managed 2 saves. So, over to me for my turn 3, where I will definitely get 1 reserve, but 3 dice. If I'm lucky, both will turn up at the same time. Soviet turn 3, these guys unpinned. 3 dice for reserves, I go 1. I've brought them in over there. The guys failed to dig in. So that leaves 4 dice of shooting. I'll just pick them up now. But I'm going to need 7s, because it's concealment all the way. And it's a long range and rate of fire 1 weapon on the move. So there's 1 potential. This is against the company command, by the way. And a roll of 2. You know, I honestly believe I have never actually managed to get a 7. They're very, very rare. But I'm in a position now where he has to respond. I could have manoeuvred him in a position closer to the objectives, which isn't a bad idea, but I'm running out of time and he's shooting up my guys, so he is at least going to have to respond to me now, and we'll get a bit of a tank duel. So that'll, oh, the mortars, what the hell, see if they get the Wesps. I won a 4 and a 2, so the middle Wesp has been hit, and it rolls a 2, which is enough to save. And that's it for my turn. German turn 4, and the reserves arrived, and they came in behind the heavy machine guns, but we'll come to that. The Panthers were in a bit of an awkward position for shooting back at me. So Brian moved them all tactical speed into short range. His shooting was terrible though. He got 2 hits, which is really, really bad. And I managed to save 1 of them, but he killed 1. There is 1 dead. He has 2. So that's only 3 shots back at him. And he's in cover. Then the artillery did nothing this turn, which is unusual. Brian dashed these guys around here. He's gone on the assumption that my 152s will come over another corner. He's not worried about his flanks. I could potentially, I will come on next turn. I could come behind him or on the side. If I hit him, I'll kill him. But I'll need 5 to hit, 3 shots. And then how the hell am I going to get over to here? So the half tracks fired, needing 5s, only got 4 hits, all which I saved, so these guys were not pinned. He went in for the assault, armoured assault. Every half track was hit at least 4 times, one was hit 5 times. Each one failed 1 save. Oh sorry, there was 1 potential bail on each one. And Brian managed all his saves. I'll start again. There was 4 potential bails and I failed all my firepowers on them because I needed 6s. He then came in, not very good in the assault, managed to kill 2 bases where he needed 3s and 4s to get me, so it could have gone worse for me, but it went well for Brian in that I broke off immediately. But they're in a good position where, I should actually back them off a bit, where at least it's preventing Brian from dismounting his infantry, set potentially into here. So we've not done the consolidation yet, forgot all about it folks. I'll check with Brian and see what he wants to do. Soviet turn 4, so the IS-2s have stayed still. My last reserve came on and the tactical moves now, I could have dashed him off. They were moving up a little bit closer. I didn't want to fire them because there wasn't much prospect of getting a hit, and I want to put pressure on this objective. These guys are really isolated. As you can see, the heavy machine guns didn't unpin, but they dug in. These infantry moved up and then followed me. This guy's moved to the edge of that wood. You never know. There might be a build-out tank there. That would be the best I get. But then these guys, they don't have to worry about blocking anymore. They've moved up to try and annoy those Wesps. You never know. They are veteran, careful kind of guys, so they might be able to do something, but not this turn. So we'll get ready for Soviet shooting after I just adjusted them a bit. So the IS-2's going to need 5 to hit. They're all able to hit the platoon from various directions. So all 3 will have a go, and as I said, I need 5. Oh, for goodness sake. I'm just gonna... That's what I got. Sorry, Brian. So the front hammer is 9 and the anti-tank is 14. So 1, 2, 3. So that was a 4, a 2 and a 4. So that's 3 fails. Bloody hell. So 5 powers. 2 up. That's a 5, a 2 and a 3. That's 3 dead. That's ridiculous. Well, I wasn't expecting that, folks. Right, over here, there's a mortar. I'm going to try and range in on these guys. What the hell? There's a 1, a 1, and a 1. So there you go. I think Brian would have preferred that for the IS-2 shooting. So the heavy machine guns might as well shoot. They've got a much reduced rate of fire. Excuse me, because they're pinned. It's going to be 6 hits though, and I'm shooting the guys that dismounted into here. So 3 saves each. 2 fails each. But I need 6s. Oh, got one. Now the other infantry followed me, so they can't shoot. The let me see. Storm group don't have any weapons with a long enough range apart from the mortar. And I think that is it for shooting, but I was ridiculously effective shooting this turn. I've been very lucky. Sorry, Brian, over to you to see what you can do. I think you need your other 3 Panthers. German turn 5. If you can see that. German turn 5. So, first of all, the West got out of dodge. Let's just call that city dodge. They got the hell out of there. They stayed put. Brian could only see one live tank from there, but he thought, you know what, I'm going to kill it and wait for the other tanks to come up and then I can deal with the rest. The other tanks did a wee tactical, then an assault, killed a base of mortars, and I had to break off, but I was happy to break off, but I've done so in a way he's going to have to assault me again. Now, the half-tracks moved around here, so my ISUs couldn't see them, and they fired, right? Managed to get one hit on every single one of the bases in the shock rifle platoon. Right, so I managed to fail 8, let me see, out of 12. 8 out of 12. That was individual rolls. That's a 3-up save, failed. It's just utter carnage. There's only 1, 2, 3, 4 of them left alive now. It's nuts. It's been a bit of a nuts game. That's pretty nuts. But the good thing is, in that respect, at least it is still game on. So I've got everything in play. I'll have to see what I can do. And oh, sorry, yeah, the Panthers for a bit more nuts. 3 shots and only 1 hit, and failed my save, and he failed his firepower. So that's still active, but I do only have 2 tanks in a position to shoot back at him this turn. So, over to me for my turn 5. Soviet turn 5. I should put these markers down. 1 second, folks. Heavy machine guns still haven't unpinned, and those infantry didn't unpin. The IS-2 got back in. They then blitzed, so the 2 that were out of line of sight could get into line of sight. One of them had to go to short range, long range though, to stay in cover. But it's either that or get shot back at on a 3, so I just put them at long range. These guys stayed put. These guys all successfully dug in. And then I just took an ordinary tactical move with these guys. I could have done a blitz and got a couple of shots, but I thought, no, so I just get in. He's in the open. I need 5 to hit. If I hit him, I'm going to hurt him. These guys just stayed put and dug in. They tried to move and follow me, never managed to follow me, but I'm going to keep chasing after those wisps. So it's over to shooting next. I'll just get set up for that. Start with IS-2s. I've got 2 a short range, 1 at long, so 2 on 5s, 1 on a 6. It's a 5, a 4 and a 1, so one of the short range ones is hit, so that'll be 9 versus 14. Looks like I'll do a double check. I think it is 14, isn't it? It's not 15. So that's just a potential bail. And I roll a 6, so 1's bailed. Okay, so let's go over to here. 3 ISU 152s. Two in the open, one concealed. No hits. I'm going to try a mortar just to the back edge of the table there. In fact, three will do it because the guys are veteran skill. So, chance of getting a couple of half tracks. It's one potential hit, but I have to re-roll. So it's a hit on this one here. It rolls a 4, so it's quite happy. The rest of the infantry are going to stay on the ground. They're dug in now, actually. They're just going to stay on the ground. So, Brian survived that turn pretty much intact, but I do have some pressure on this objective now. But Panthers are still coming. German turn 6 and the objectives are live. So in terms of motivation, the German infantry in the half tracks are unpinned. He never got back in even with a reroll. And then movement, the Wefts have driven the hell out of dodge even further. The one that could shoot just stayed put. I'll come back to the half tracks in a minute. The guys moved up in an assault position. So in terms of shooting, the one that could fire got 2 hits, 1 kill. I managed to make the save. The one that was a long range managed to save. But that puts me in a difficult position there because I'm going to have to check, but I reckon the 2 survivors are outside of 6 inches of each other. So that'll be a last stand, I think. These guys came in, killed 3 half tracks, and then broke off themselves. And killed 3 half tracks, killed 3 mortars, and then broke off, so they're moving through. Now, I said half tracks because this turn was all about half tracks. It's just utterly ridiculous. There's one out of everything that was there. That's let me think. Company command, 4 infantry, and 4 heavy machine guns. There's only 1 heavy machine gun left. Everything else is dead. It's dead, that's Scottish by the way for dead. Everything else is dead. They got 1 build at half track out of all of it. And that's it. What can I say? There was 1 base shot on the way in, and the rest of it was done in assault. And Brian, with a bit of help from me measuring, was able to come around the back and get his assaults in without being within 8 inches of them. There's no guarantee they would have hit if I'd been firing in defensive fire, but there you go. These half tracks are just mental. So, they did a wee bit of consolidation to try and at least put 2 of them further over, out of line of sight of things, and that's it for a rather successful German turn. That's all that's on this objective now. They've got... This one's empty. Oh no, this one is empty. They're fully crewed, and there's still 1 guy in there. And objectives are live this turn. I am going to do this just now on camera. They'll be in a last stand. I'm pretty sure, if it's not, I'll double check it, but I'm pretty sure they are. So, a 5. They're okay, whatever happens. So I'll just go over to my turn and figure out what the hell's going on. Soviet turn 6, the MG gunner ran off. They were very disappointing. Very disappointing. The mortars are just staying put, they've dug in. These guys are running over, they're getting closer to the action. As you saw, they stayed in the table. I've got to decide if I want to blitz them or follow them. Blitz them or shoot and scoot them. I think I'm going to shoot and scoot, but I'll double check before I do the shooting. And I've got to move somebody over here. So, let me see. You'll be able to turn and face and get a concealed shot. It's okay. Right, so over to shooting. So the IS-2s, it's a bit tricky here. The guy at short range can only see the bailed out one. So, going to have to roll them separate, and he will need a 5. The other one will need a 6 for long range. So short range and long. Nothing there, but I'm going to try and shoot and scoot them. That's a 6, so I'll move them later. Over here, got a single mortar here. Going to try and go for the half tracks. God, yeah. Single mortars. Terrible. Right. Excuse me. The IS 152s. Okay, so I'm going to have 2 shots in the open because I'm close enough to the hedge, and 1 in concealment. So 2 in the open looking for 4s, 1 looking for a 5. A 1, a 2 and a 3. That's bad. So that's it really. I'll see if I want to shoot and scoot the ISU 152s. I'll do that off camera. And there you go, folks. German turn 7. Brian managed to pull it out of the bag. Quite remarkable. So in this turn, these guys moved up into firing positions, got some shots at the ISU 152s. 1 saved, 1 was killed. These company commander moved up as well and missed. That's about it really for shooting. I mean, these guys tried direct fire. It would take a hell of a lot to get hits there, but they missed. The important thing is here, this guy that was in the house, right, was able to launch an assault with no counter fire. He got in, managed to hit, couldn't hurt them, but they had a 5 up motivation for let me see, 5 up motivation for counter attacking because they're only assault guns. So they had to break off. Just wondering if they could, just going to do a quick measurement. Let me see. It's kind of academic, to be honest. They could actually attempted to break off over the hedge if they passed the cross check. If not, they'd be captured, ended up over here to keep the game going. But I reckon that's a fair result, folks. I reckon that's a fair win for Brian there. And I think it's down to these guys. That was quite remarkable. They destroyed a heavy machine gun platoon and an infantry platoon. Absolutely destroyed them. It was like a ballet. I have to admit there were some terrible dice rolls on my part, and he probably wouldn't have destroyed them quite so quick, but the way things were going, I think he would probably have done it anyway, so it was quite remarkable. The Panthers, well, 1 platoon died, and he's not finished off my platoon, so in the heavies there's 1 dead. So the heavies are still doing quite good. The Panthers are still alright against the heavies, you know, did not bad. But that was quite an entertaining game. I hope you found it entertaining as well, folks. There was plenty of to and fro and desperate moments and how we're going to come back from that. But in the end, Brian was the one who managed to come back. And just at the right time as well, turn 7, when things were looking good, he managed to pull the win out the bag. So hopefully that entertained you. Good to see some Panthers on the table again, folks. It's still just mid-month, so we've got a bit to go before Bagration comes out. A bit to go again before we have much in the way of figures to play the games. But I'm going to try and get them painted as quick as I can get a hold of them, so we can use the different kind of options for the Germans. So thanks for watching, folks. Thanks for our subscribers. Anyone else who've not subscribed, please consider it. It will help us build up the channel and keep these hopefully entertaining battle reports coming your way. Thanks again.